a newborn wildebeest hits the dirt. About 6 minutes later, it stands up on wobbling legs. By sundown, it's running fast enough to keep pace with a moving herd. A zebra foal is trotting within 30 minutes of taking its first breath. A human baby born on exactly the same day can't even hold up its own head. It won't walk for a year, and it won't secure its own food for much longer than that. Among mammals, human newborns are spectacularly, almost absurdly, incompetent. Horses, zebras, wildebeest, and giraffes are precocial. They're born neurologically mature. Their muscles and bones are dense enough to bear weight immediately, and their senses are fully online. They live on open plains with no dens, no cover. Their only defense is distance. A foal that can't stand is a dead foal. Evolution solved that problem by front-loading their development into a long gestation. Horses gestate for 11 months. They produce a newborn that's mostly bone and muscle, built to move. Humans are primates, and primates are generally precocial. A newborn chimpanzee is born with its eyes open. It can grip its mother's fur and cling to her back while she swings through the canopy. Human babies can't do that. Human newborn's brain is only about 27% of its adult size. A chimp is born with a brain that's roughly 36 to 40% of its adult size. Macaques are born at 70%, largely ready to survive. Humans have the lowest ratio of any primate. We're basically born helpless, which biologists call secondarily altricial. Our deep ancestors were capable, but somewhere along the evolutionary line, we started producing offspring that are entirely defenseless. For a long time, anthropologists explained this as a mechanical trade-off. In 1960, Sherwood Washburn coined a term for this specific problem. He called it the obstetric dilemma. A few million years ago, our ancestors started walking on two legs. Bipedalism completely reshaped our skeleton. The pelvis had to become shorter and narrower to support the weight of our internal organs and give our leg muscles the right leverage for walking upright. But right around the same time, we started using tools and fire. Our brains grew. The skull had to expand to hold all that new tissue. You've got a massive, rigid skull trying to pass through a narrowing ring of bone. It's a structural nightmare. Washburn argued that the only way to get the baby out was to birth it earlier, before the head got too large. We're born helpless because if we stayed in the womb any longer, we literally wouldn't fit through the exit. That story is clean. It's likely incomplete. Recently, a biological anthropologist named Holly Dunsworth introduced a different way of looking at it. Scientists call it the egg hypothesis, which stands for the energetics of gestation and growth. Dunsworth's team looked at the mechanics of the human pelvis and found no evidence that wider hips compromise walking efficiency. Women with a wide range of pelvic dimensions walk and run without any measurable loss of energy. The structural bottleneck is only part of the story. The real constraint on pregnancy, Dunsworth argues, is metabolic. A fetus requires a massive amount of fuel. In the first few months, the energy cost is relatively low. But toward the end of the third trimester, the fetus is packing on fat and brain tissue so fast that its energy demands curve straight upward. The mother's body has to supply all of it. Human bodies have a strict limit on how much energy they can generate over a long period. Your basal metabolic rate is the energy your body burns just to keep the lights on, keeping your heart beating and your lungs breathing. Elite endurance athletes, like Tour de France cyclists, can push their metabolism to 4 or 5 times their resting rate for a few hours. But nobody can sustain that for weeks. The absolute ceiling for sustained human endurance is roughly 2.1 times your basal resting rate. A pregnant body hovers right near that limit for months. It's an ultra-endurance event. Toward the end of pregnancy, the mother's metabolism is redlining. Dunsworth calculated that a baby is born precisely when the mother's metabolism hits its absolute ceiling, regardless of pelvic geometry. The fetus needs more calories than the mother can physically process and transfer. Human birth happens late relative to our body size. Human gestation is actually 5 to 7 weeks longer than chimpanzee gestation. We hold on to the baby for as long as we possibly can. We give birth when the energy math simply stops working. Obstetric dilemma persists. A 2021 review in Biological Reviews argued that pelvic size still has explanatory power, especially considering the high rates of obstructed labor around the world. The metabolic ceiling leaves questions about why human pelvises have different shapes based on sex, or why childbirth complications are so uniquely common in our species. These raise probably complementary pressures. A mother runs out of energy at roughly the exact same time the baby runs out of space. But that leaves us with the helplessness. If the baby has to come out at 9 months, it comes out unfinished. What looks like a design flaw is an engineering trade. Because humans are born with small brains, they do most of their growing outside the womb. The human brain adds roughly 75% of its adult weight after birth. The fastest rate of growth happens in the first year of life. The brain is ravenous during this time, soaking up an enormous amount of calories to build millions of synapses every second. That postnatal window is when the brain is wiring itself in response to the actual environment the baby is living in. It's forming neural pathways based on spoken language, the physical resistance of gravity. It's pruning connections for phonetic sounds it doesn't hear and strengthening the ones it does. It's learning the physics of its own limbs by flailing them around in open air. A wildebeest foal is born with a brain already formatted for running. Its neural pathways are largely locked in. A human is born with a brain still being written. The helplessness is the feature. We trade immediate physical competence for long-term cognitive flexibility. Every mammal is born with the brain its survival strategy demands. A wildebeest needs legs. You needed decades.